Hi guys, my name is Urchin, I'm part of the Clip content team, and today's interview is with the amazing Galush. Now, before we get into the interview, I'm going to ask you, like we have done before, if you want to see these videos a bit earlier than everyone else, then please join our membership channel. You'll be getting access to early content, I don't reveal anything too much, but there'll be some goodies as well involved, but get on over there, get subscribed, get memberships on. It helps support us, and without further ado, thank you very much. This is the Galush interview. Hey guys, my name is Urchin, I'm part of the Clip team, and I'm here with the amazing Galush. How you doing, my friend?
How's it going? Good to see you.
I'm doing great, thanks. I'm happy to see you here. Very happy we got
Yeah, glad to
grab
be
you.
joining back in. It's been a minute since I got involved in anything clip related.
Yeah, it's been a fair while. I hope has everything been outside of Clip? Have you been practicing for
Yeah,
anything?
sure, absolutely. I've really focused so much more on live performing, and I got married just over a year ago, and promptly moved into a place that had no internet for about 6 months. So it sort of made me sort of develop some new routines around how I'm connecting with people and what I'm doing with my music, all of that. It's been a very change has been like the number one constant in the last year. You know.
Oh, congratulations on the wedding. I'm very happy for you.
Yeah, thanks so much. I've got a song coming out in a little while that was the first dance song that my wife and I danced to at the wedding, and I did a little cover of that coming out soon. So it was a great little way to kind of lock in on a fun little creative project.
Oh, that's adorable. Oh, that's awesome. Cool. I think we're gonna start off here with it's been a fair little while since anything you've uploaded to your YouTube channel, like any routines. Like I know you posted a solo a couple months ago, but after that, it's been
Yeah,
8 months.
from a show at Middlebury College that I did.
Yes.
Yeah, there were several more videos from that show. I was thinking about uploading, but I ended up deciding that I would wait for like the studio versions, which is really exciting because this fall I'll have a run of several months in a row of, I want to say, about 2 uploads a week. Sorry, not a week, 2 uploads a month. Every other week coming out in the fall. So it's been a very productive summer, and it's just kind of all of the work is going to be visible in as a run comes up soon with a lot of uploads.
Oh, that's awesome. It's great to see that you're getting back into it. I mean, it has been a
Yeah,
fair
for
while
sure.
since your last one, and I know people like myself, we've been eagerly waiting for your next tracks and all that. I mean, I
Really
was,
exciting stuff. Yeah.
I was going to ask about that actually.
Well, it's great to hear that there's people interested in hearing it, whatever it is that's coming out next.
Yeah, of course. I was actually going to ask about that. Do you have any projects that you're working on at the minute? Obviously, outside of that.
Yeah. So right now I'm having that kind of well. Um, so right now about the upcoming projects, I'm in the portion of the process where I'm going back and forth with my friend Joe Madspeed on
Yes.
audio and getting kind of like all the masters done. But just about all of the recording is finished, and I'm looking forward to kind of sharing a long run of some covers that I basically have used um, as a way to try and both kind of reconnect to some of my roots musically, have an excuse to kind of learn the Mark II better, and explore what I can do when it comes to like reimagining and re-understanding some of my own favorite songs. So I have a run of, I'm going to say, a good handful of covers that's going to be coming out in sequence this fall, which is also going to give me a wonderful little bit of buffer time to kind of refocus creatively on original work. So that would be the following project coming out.
Oh, awesome. That's
Yeah,
really good.
getting back into some of the more kind of battle oriented and kind of really refocusing on original music after this run. And some of the ways I've been looking forward to doing that is actually reconnecting with some of the loopers. I've had some chats recently with some people that I want to learn about specific things from. So I've been reaching out to kind of overcome some of the kind of creative block that comes with not finding much new sound design in the last in the last few months. As I've been doing these covers, the name of the game has been like reconnecting with myself musically and like with my roots and everything. But I think that sound design and having something to say lyrically and musically that kind of means something to me personally are the two main kind of factors that I want to work in to the upcoming original projects.
Oh, very cool. That's very awesome. Obviously, so you're saying you're only now, or are you saying you're now starting to work on your original pieces?
Yeah, I've got a few that are that I'm pretty excited about. I have a few that are just about done, but I want to kind of round out the kind of set length. Right now I'd say that I have a small handful of originals that I'm happy with and that I'm looking forward to sharing when it's time. But I kind of feel like rather than kind of doing a little string of singles that sort of putter out and it's hard to maintain the energy and excitement around. I like the idea of trying to work on bigger chunks at once, and then kind of having more of a sort of seasoned release. Having a bigger sort of more fully bodied project to put together. Like right now I have some of the some of the covers that have been, where I've been sort of like finding myself musically and kind of adapting with some changes. But as the work on the rest of the new originals kind of finishes out, there's still some more kind of cohesion among all of the different songs that I want to put together, some themes and some things to really say artistically and creatively that I want to kind of put into a bigger conversation. I want the songs to kind of make sense and kind of feel more like that kind of complete body of work as opposed to kind of one-offs here and there that sort of that would be like the singles as opposed to an album,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I get you there.
Right. So, yeah.
I get with the loopers at the moment. There isn't a lot of cohesion at all. Everyone's hopping through different genres. Everyone's experimenting with everything, but having that full, almost album taste, it's it's almost unique in a weird way. For
because the thing that I have wanted to really capture is something that's hard to fit all of into one song. Especially with the amount of competitiveness in our sort of realm of music,
mm-hmm.
It can be really hard not to get caught up in comparing yourself to what everyone else is already doing. So I can't tell you how many times I've like wanted to do something in a song, but then been like, oh no, someone else already did that with their song, so I gotta try something else.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that with a bigger body of work, it's easier for me to kind of relieve some of that pressure to kind of fit everything, like every original technique or every song idea, every song lyrical idea, every kind of topic or every bit of context, or it relieves some of that pressure to put it all into one song and try to fit in everything, and just it lets me have an easier time with what I struggle with, which is trying to put too much into one piece.
Mm-hmm.
So some of these songs coming out this fall are like kind of in my usual like musically maximalist style, like trying to fit as much in as many little details as possible. And I was talking with Jerry about this earlier, often at the expense of the overall track. It's been a good exercise in pulling back from and holding myself back from trying to fit everything in,
Mm-hmm.
to really just sort of focus on what I need and what really adds to the songs, as opposed to kind of feeling like the pressure to fit everything I know how to do and everything I want to say all into one big thing.
That's very interesting. Yeah, I appreciate that a lot as well. So does that mean that you're working mainly on an album, or are you looking maybe to go backwards into these battles, or what's your mind
Well, it's
on
going
that?
to depend. I'm excited right now about the possibility of having some time to figure through some things out. Creatively, direction wise, it's been really great doing some live shows recently, and I want to do more and more of that. I think that a lot of this cover sort of focused fall when it comes to like the online releases is going to really help build some momentum around the live performing and kind of help me book more shows and whatnot. Um, and sort of like help develop that audience that's not necessarily all other loopers.
Hmm.
Because that's one of the most challenging aspects about this sort of like insulated community is that everyone is a fan, but also everyone is their own artist and
Hmm.
needs to kind of like get the support of all the other artists that they're kind of inherently in competition with. So I'm looking to build a set list, and for my shows that have been, not related to entirely beatbox community events, I've focused on building a set list that's really widely applicable and can be enjoyed by anybody. Um, so mixing in both solo beatbox and looping and some cool sample stuff. Really working on advancing like the visuals of my set. I have like a whole sort of kind of visual performance aspect of it all now, and really just spending as much time on stage as possible to kind of work the craft of engaging with other people outside of your headphones. Is I think something that I've really enjoyed getting to do, and wherever I go in the future, musically and creatively, it's going to be in service of doing that. I think, um, I love the kind of advancement opportunity of focusing on building battle routines. It really does help me like get into what's the really high energy and really exciting music that I want to make. Um, but if ultimately if that kind of thing doesn't help me connect with like a crowd that anyone can enjoy themselves in, then it's not going to be in service of that bigger vision. So finding the balance in the next few months as I work back on original music and as I focus in more on um, you know expanding my sound design options and expanding the sort of song structure stuff and how I think about that going into my live set. um, I don't like some of the limitations that I've experienced in battling when it comes to like the limits of the format. So that so for example, like having like allowing one of the videos I'm putting out this fall to like not have to show everything get recorded at the beginning and just kind of like play the song as I would play it live,
Hmm.
right? Like at a show, it helped that I didn't have to like rig up both my Mark One and my Mark Two to like show the little resample thing I was doing for that song in the beginning. It makes for a better video. It makes for a more enjoyable set. And at the end of the day, like no one outside of the Loopstation Battle people care if stuff is pre-recorded or like fudged a little bit, as long as it sounds good. As long as it advances the quality of your live show. Um, so as much as there's an excellent opportunity for advancement via battling, and that's definitely a lane that I have sort of stepped away from and I'm looking forward to doing some more with. Um, I see that as a way to sort of tap into a sort of creative process that helps me with something else. It's not like the end in its own in its own right. I don't think that any. I mean, there's been no battle titles or whatever that have gotten me shows or whatever more easily than a recommendation for someone who was at my old show and like really enjoyed it and put me in touch with somebody else, right? So
Hmm.
rather than like leveraging titles and um, working to sort of get more, I don't know, beatboxer famous, my sort of approach here is like, what can I do holistically as a musician that's going to get me in the door as a sort of more sort of like all encompassing performer.
Hmm. Got you. So would you consider yourself as a producer almost in that sense, where you're also looking at the whole song rather than, say, like how you were saying before, how you kind of try to skip out the beginning whenever you're doing your live shows?
Yeah.
So would you consider that?
Yeah. So when it comes to like the producer aspect of things, There was a video that I put out about a year ago that was like an entirely a cappella set. It was a cover of the song Georgia by Vance Joy, which is a song that I sang with my a cappella group, and it was a really fun sort of exercise in sort of getting some closure after my senior a cappella group's tour season was cut short by like the first wave of COVID.
Oh, right.
So it was again like that again like a very kind of personally meaningful project that was a great excuse to like learn how to do all the video editing and learn how to do all of the sort of a cappella multi-tracking production work, right? And that's something I did really enjoy and do really want to go back to more of, you know. I think that right now the only limitation on what I can expect to be doing creatively is kind of outside of music. It's more of like the life stuff, like the having a job and having gotten married in the last year, and kind of rolling with all the new life stuff that comes with that, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So as much as I am capable, I have no intentions of kind of closing any doors on doing stuff. You know, it's entirely possible and likely that after some time focusing on building this original kind of this new original set during this fall, that I'll be taking it back to the battle scene just as much as I'll be taking it to a festival or something, you know, or a live show, or like a hip hop show. Like I'm like there's a hip hop show I'm doing coming up in a couple weeks that like I'm preparing for, just kind of hanging out tonight.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Kind of coming back to the live event stuff. Do you have any memories from either doing your shows or actively being around other beatboxers, loopers, anything like that?
Yeah,
Is there any
totally.
memories that stand out to you as maybe your favorite memory or something that you really cherish?
Yeah, for sure. Well, I think it's kind of topical to bring up stuff like World Beatbox Championship from 2018 that I was at. Getting to see the kind of the whole community come together there was amazing. That was the year that I really saw like the Spider Horse kind of World Championship and GBB year, that kind of let them sort of rocket off onto their own thing.
Mm-hmm.
And kind of trying to and kind of seeing in that process the first real glimpse of like a different sort of future path for these musicians that are coming out of the battle scene. You know, and seeing the same for Barry Wam as well, right? They won crew that year and had since and have since kind of like gone off very much on their own thing.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so seeing how they can leverage like those performance opportunities and getting really great video and like web presence and all that stuff, is very exciting. So when it comes to live for like live shows and experiences that I've had, some of the post COVID like battles that I got to go to, like Crossroads, was certainly a really exciting time. Those videos are all about to come out this fall too, so that's exciting.
Oh, very cool.
And getting to meet more and more of the like new school American loopers that are sort of joining in since everything went online. That was a really exciting time to see and kind of connect with some of them, sort of outside of that realm of like Discord and online battles and stuff. Because I think that you don't really get to meet and see people's authentic self and artistry and stuff in those spaces because it's so sort of tailored around the competition. And that certainly adds so much of like that weird like ego and posturing sort of stuff that can go into a scene that's so sort of inherently competitive.
Mm-hmm.
So getting to kind of get past all that stuff and really sort of see the people behind the username
Mm-hmm.
was really exciting.
That's really cool. That's been a trend throughout these interviews, is that everyone's favorite memory isn't exactly, say, them winning a title on stage or performing well. It's them meeting everyone else that they've been speaking to online and finally being able to come together and enjoy their music. So that's really cool. That's still
You
like
know,
a setting trend.
well, it's a very different attitude and stuff. Like I mean, one of the last online battle that I won, I think, was the 2020 like winter games, whatever that one was.
Mhm.
And I like in that top 8, I think I beat Slether and then Epos and then M-Age, and people who all went off and had like crazy huge level ups in the next year and like won big competitions and stuff. You know, I beat Yasuit a couple times during that same year. Like all people that like I remember being like, oh yeah, cool. I'm gonna beat these people while they're still not even close to their final I don't know, Goku Super Saiyan form, and then be like, oh no, yeah, I beat
Easy.
Inertia in 2018 in a solo battle, no biggie, you know, easy, right? When and kind of seeing that whole growth of the scene, like when it comes to the titles and the competitiveness and stuff, like the thing that doesn't draw me into that stuff, or the thing that makes me not really care about the title or whatever, is because it's a very real sort of like time capsule snapshot thing, but it's like a used car, right? It's completely devalued as soon as there's no. I'm sorry, they
So
I guess skipped out.
I lost you for a second there.
Okay. Well, what I was saying was that I kind of have to think about like battle titles like a used car. They're completely valueless as soon as they leave for the next one. You know, like you can win anything in 1 week, and then the next week's battle, it's anyone's game all over again. You know, so when I think about how like during that 2020 set, I was playing a bunch of songs that I had recently played at live shows, and it was really kind of new and felt good to me, but it was also sort of very different. So that really helped with my battle judging. Like it made the judges more favorable of me just because of it being different, more so than it being what the scene was kind of looking for. Right. That's the kind of thing that makes me wonder, like, I think about it a lot as a judge, right? Because I have very different judging. I feel like I have a very different judging mindset when it comes to how I approach stuff like the upcoming 2v2, how I approach stuff like judging wild cards in particular. And this is really an opinion that has been formed just over the last several years of being in the scene and seeing what things have made people successful outside of the scene too, and what things have made people sort of memorable beyond the moment. And that has been like the originality and personality, right? Because I think about how for you know for every one of the shows that I go to, or like especially like open mics, I've been to a million of them, right? And so many of them are just like another singer songwriter with a guitar doing nothing really interesting rhythmically and doing nothing really interesting harmonically or melodically. It's just like, okay, these things are a dime a dozen. So what is going to catch the interest and be different and be interesting and be original, and what is going to capture that kind of personal what's going to show me like the work and the personality and the excitement behind the product that I'm actually hearing, you know? Right. There's definitely there's some of those intangible qualities of certain performers and certain performances that just have so much more staying power and make it so much more interesting as I get, drowned out by a motorcycle. So like originality and like owning your stuff and not being afraid to be different is I think one of the biggest kind of positive things for me that I'm looking for as a judge, right? I also sort of think a lot about how we as a community decide collectively what we think is good based a lot around judging. I think judges have a huge responsibility as like a form of tastemaker in the community. Like when we say that someone won a beatbox battle and the judges point for one or the other, we're really kind of in that exact moment creating the aesthetic convention and the tastes that we as beatboxers sort of strive for, right? Like if Napalm didn't win so many battles, the lip roll would not be so popular, right? Like if the judges didn't make those decisions the whole way, it would have influenced the scene in a very different way, So when I think about the stuff that the responsibility of the judges to consider not just what is kind of like decided to be good by the conventions of what the community likes, right? Like we're a lot of younger, skewing very strongly white male group of people that are going to have tastes defined by a lot of those demographic markers. And I think that as a judge, you cannot judge the aesthetic markers of something that is more valuable to a certain community more valuably, despite it being more enjoyed by that community, right? Like what if you see a really excellently executed track that has all, for all of its own merit and for all of its own reasons, not been enjoyed by the beatbox community, people who are in the room with you, but the artist kind of has authentically put on a performance and nailed the execution of what they were trying to do, and has kind of engaged with a different musical culture or history or background, right? And has done that really well. That is going to draw my attention significantly more than someone who has kind of prioritized the kind of on the surface, like surface level, like sound design choices, and recreated like an AI generating, like from what has been fed already, another like drum and bass track that just sort of like does this, you know? I think a lot about how like the metaphor I just did, right, where you're kind of building what's already been built from and taking from what's already there, is, I think that's one of the biggest kind of challenges facing the musicians in this community, is because we have this system that we built ourselves where the stuff that wins is what has been decided to be better. And it doesn't incentivize you to branch out from what wins, right?
Yes.
Which is why, for example, like thinking about kind of jumping ahead to the next interview question, right? About like people that I'm interested in seeing more of, right? I'm really excited for people like Josh O at GBB, because I think he has all of the musical qualities and ease that Robin had in like 2021, with the chops to curate really, really excellently, kind of coherently designed drops and stuff. I think he's going to be a real contender there. And he has an excellent ability to sit on his stuff quietly for as long as necessary, right? I remember when he shared with me the song that eventually became his GBB wildcard this past year, almost a full year before it came out, right?
Wow.
The dude sits on stuff and has a willingness to not spoil stuff by putting it out too early that I find very enviable. I kind of find myself to be the opposite. I'll be the first one to play something that's not even close to ready, not even close to done, and screw it up, and then be like frustrated and why didn't that go well? It's because I made it last week. Yeah. That's why, right? It hasn't cooked yet,
Yeah.
So I'm excited to see that kind of stuff. And I'm also excited to see the pendulum swing back, right? I think that the MK2 in particular has caused a distinct pendulum swing into what can the MK2 do, in the same way that once Sorrow kind of hit that, that like pitch bend synth sound in like 2017, and all of a sudden we're like, oh, the Mark II can make our sounds for us. Awesome. Sorry, the Mark I can make our sounds for us, right? Right now the Mark II is making all of our sounds for us, right? You can put in a kick drum and get a snare drum out, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
You can go and have a whole sequence melody thing come out, right? I'm looking forward to seeing when that pendulum swings back a little bit, and the people who are differentiated by our judging criteria and our kind of communal musician philosophy start seeing more of what can you put into the machine and how can you have that work well with what the machine can make for you. I think I think the big trend has been like pushing just like the plastic box machine sound toy, right?
Yeah.
And like everyone's Osbot with the combo crunch bass can sound exactly the same, which is why I feel like I haven't put out a lot of stuff in the last year, I'm kind of waiting for that pendulum to swing back. You know, I'm not going to be the first one to race and figure out all the possible configurations of that calculator. I'm going to wait until I learn how to do all that stuff and then see how I can make it work with what I want to put into it. You know, and I think that was I think that's a decent choice on my end because I'm really looking forward to the upcoming Loopstation worlds, like shift. Like I think that it's going to kind of swing back around again.
Mm-hmm. I feel like at the minute we're in a time where every single event we reach past a whole brand new milestone that's so much further and so much more complex than the last. And
yeah,
I feel like it's going to keep going for a few more events, at least maybe into 2024, late 2024, 25. But I agree with you.
I mean, like people didn't even get close to figuring out the Mark 1's like potential until basically the Mark 2 came out.
Mm-hmm.
Like it was like right up until then that people were kind of really doing crazy stuff on the Mark 1. Like I remember when PSN made a huge splash by being like an absolute innovator on the Mark 1 with the MK2 out like a couple months later, and then all of a sudden he's irrelevant again. Yeah. Right? Like we're like the real innovators on the scene. When it comes to technology, there's only so many, you know, there's only so many like knobs you can turn and stuff, right? There's a limit to how much that machinery and the technology can do for you. Eventually, we haven't even close to hit that yet.
Yeah.
But I think that the biggest thing you can do as a musician to work with your machinery and to kind of achieve that, you know, that sort of more authentic and original musician holistically is by not listening to what everyone else is doing quite as much, right? Like I definitely listen to that as much as I can when it comes to like getting inspired for specific stuff to do or like specific sound design choices or arrangement things. But there's that whole plastic box thing, right? Where like everyone's working with the same thing, and at the end of the day, it might all sound the same for a while until we figure out how to be original. You know,
exactly.
And sounding the same can also can very much mean sounding good. I don't mean to be like an old man on my front porch rocking chair being like, "You darn kids and your newfangled shit." You know, it sounds awesome, right? Like some of those German champs events that I've seen videos of looked so fucking cool.
Absolutely
right?
incredible.
Like they seemed like they were like such a great event and had just amazing shows and everything. You know, I think that for me when I'm judging stuff and when I'm thinking about the role of like when I think about the bigger picture of what we're always doing, it's you know, it's who's going to be around in 5 years, who's going to be around in 10 years, you know, who's going to be making stuff that kind of goes beyond what wins in a vacuum with other people who know what you're doing already.
To kind of continue that conversation about the one device and all that kind of stuff, do you think, what are your opinions on, say, devices like Loopy Pro, where they completely change everything about looping as we know? And do you think that, let's say, for competitions like this, it's too far, or do you reckon it's another way to express yourself?
Yeah. So I think that there's the framing of that question reveals a ton about how we think about our technology and how we think about competitions, right? There's that whole question of how do we make it fair? How do we make it, you know, like how do we encourage innovation while having some kind of baseline sameness to draw competitive fairness and stuff from, you know? And I think that misses a lot of the point of why we would integrate stuff like Loopy Pro and even the Helix, like when that kind of first broke in as like the big hack to have, you know, I think it misses the point of tools being really only as good and useful as your use of them. You know, and I think there's always been an ongoing conversation about, again, how we as a community decide what we like and what we want to make and what is good, right? And the judging system is a huge part of that kind of taste creation process, but so is the specifics of the machine, right? When you think back about how much like the taste of other genres of music were influenced by the technologies available to the performers of that music, you start seeing stuff how like, so many more rock songs are composed in a specific key because it's easier to play in that key on the guitar, right? So much of our technology is influencing the way that we make our music and the way we decide what of our music sounds good. And I'm really looking forward to kind of seeing the much longer term sort of cultural creation that the technology imparts on us, just as much as we kind of create our own stuff using those tools, So when you think about the kind of big picture of integrating technology into the vocal music sphere, right? Looping very much has become its own thing compared to beatboxing. Like you don't have to be a good beatboxer to be a phenomenal looper, right? You don't have to be MB14 anymore to like have a really kind of good musician sort of presence and show on a loop station, right? I think that when you think about that kind of spectrum between like, I don't know, Oxygenic or KBA or Inky and MB14, right? You start seeing it much more holistically as artists and their creative decision choice making around the tools they use, and that is not compatible really with a mindset that is limited by what we can make into a competition. So for the sake of getting to still do the battle game, we'll figure something out and we'll piecemeal it all together and kind of like correct as we go, as we kind of always have. But I'm much more interested in that, 20, 30 years from now, who's teaching the college class about this music, right? Like who's the professor in some high level academic institution that has put in the kind of work and time and understanding to identify the kind of cultural value and meaning behind this whole process that thousands of largely white boys on the internet are doing musically right now.
Yeah.
And how is that going to impact and how is that going to go beyond its own little circle, right? Those are the questions I think that are much more both interesting and like worth exploring, really. Because that's the kind of stuff where you start seeing the you start seeing how this is not a new situation for musicians to be in, right? The questions of how to integrate new technologies it's not something that has been kind of experienced in a culture that is specifically about competition before. So that's a very interesting kind of new spin on the whole deal. But I think we could all learn a lot more from other musical communities and cultures that have faced some of these same topics of interest in the past. And that's not a tactic I see a lot of people doing to better understand themselves and their own musical culture.
It's a very interesting take. It's a very, very philosophical take. I like that. I like that a lot.
Well, yeah, I mean...
you might be the professor in 20, 30 years.
That'd be really cool. Introducing Professor Galush. That'd be really cool, I think.
Awesome. We've got 2 more questions because I've taken up a lot of your time already. I appreciate you being so
of course
freewheeling and all that. Firstly, obviously you've said about your shows you're doing soon. Is there anything in specific you'd like to shout out for us?
Yeah, I'm playing in Worcester, Massachusetts on October the 25th. I have a few. I'm currently like booking for this coming spring and summer. So I'm looking more at like that 6 or more months out spot. This fall, I've kind of really decided to like lean back on the live shows and kind of focus on creating some stuff that can get some momentum into the spring and next summer. You know, so I will be posting a bunch on my YouTube channel and doing a bit of a social media push in the next few months around. Like I'm not gonna say a specific number because then I have to hold myself to it, but a good handful.
Okay.
You know, I'm just gonna say more than 5.
Okay, very nice.
New video song experiences coming out next from Galush.
Awesome. And the very final question, we're doing this with all the judges. Can you present your best nectar for us? Now, I know we had a bit
I've heard of this.
I know we had a bit of
I will get off of my rocking chair on my porch and come join you kids. You know.
So yeah,
I think I've seen it. I think I've seen that thing. It's like I think you have to
like clench your chin in, clench your cheeks in. There you go. That's
something.
perfect.
Something you have to kind of bite the lip a little bit. I think my younger cousin has sent me a video of this guy. It's like yeah, it's that. Okay, I've seen that 1,000 times. Like whatever it is, right? Incredible.
Brilliant.
We'll put that. We'll put some screen grab from that in the conversation, in the compilation of all the judges being goofy.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? Wonderful, right? That'll be a chapter that'll be a chapter on the beatbox memes.
Of course.
Chapter in the college course.
Yes.
How have beatbox memes influenced the culture?
This is a point in history. We're marking ourselves.
Absolutely. Oh yeah.
Awesome.
Well, anyway, listen, it's been wonderful speaking with you. Thanks so much for doing the work to help keep this community organized and having great events. You know, it is underappreciated and undercompensated aspect of the job, and it really does open up so many doors for people in this community to do such awesome stuff. So I'm really grateful and appreciative to the online scene for doing what y'all do.
Thank you very much. I'm equally as thankful for you being so open and so friendly today, because it's the first time we've spoken.
Yeah, of course. Appreciate it.
A brilliant conversation. We've had a great time here today.
Yeah, it's been great. It's been great hearing from you. Thanks so much.
Awesome. Thank you very much. And remember, Clip YouTube. Go subscribe to his YouTube channel. Watch out for all of his events that are coming up. It's gonna be incredible. And yeah, thank you very much.